Welcome, data people. We are Zuma. My name is Matt, and this is the Data for Good podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Zuma. Zuma is a dedicated recruitment company focused on data positions across Berlin. Data for Good podcast is for the world of data science, analytics, and engineering, giving you the thoughts and opinions of data leaders from Berlin and beyond. Today, we are joined by Talha, who is lead analyst here at Deutsche Bank's Berlin Technology Centre. Talha, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing pretty fine. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we're really excited. Thank you for everyone joining us here for this live event. We've hit 115 recordings so far. A couple of the guests are in the audience. So yeah, we're going live today. So hopefully all goes well. There's no editing on this one. So for those who aren't aware, Talha, give us a quick introduction.
Yeah, so my name is Talha Munir, and I'm working as a lead analyst at Deutsche Bank. On a very broad level, we analyze what's going on in an FX market, foreign exchange market, and then try to find insights by connecting different business units and come up with some actionable insights. Previously, I worked as a data scientist in telecom sector, healthcare, and supply chain, and also spent a couple of years in research in the field of computer vision, explainable AI, and custom analysis.
Amazing. So a lot of wisdom, a lot of insights for us to tap into this evening. As you can see on the screen, we're going to talk about AI strategy. So yeah, let's dig into that. What is AI strategy and an enterprise environment? So really simple. What is AI? What does it mean to Deutsche Bank?
Yeah, I mean, if you talk about AI, it's basically a collection of, let's say, advanced technology that allow machines to perform the tasks that requires human thinking, but not only to do the way humans do, but do it better, faster, and more efficient. For Deutsche Bank, we have been using AI for quite a long time for several use cases, and it's not a new technology for us. With the recent development in AI, especially Gen AI, we think that it will reinvent the way we work. So what we are trying to do is to work with our partners in order to see where we can use Gen AI to improve our work. So yeah, so we have collaborations with Google, Microsoft, and NVIDIA. And we are focusing on some key areas where we can explore some promising use cases in that time.
So a lot of people will be wanting to know what the use cases are, where Deutsche Bank making the most of Gen AI. Give us a brief introduction to where you're using it.
Yeah. So basically, we identify for Gen AI, we identify some three key areas. One of them is the software code development for our developers to increase their productivity and their efficiency. So when you work in a, let's say, in an established organization, there is a particular way of doing specific things. And our developers basically learn that DB way through experience or through pairing with the senior developers, which takes time. So basically, we are using Gen AI and try to fine-tune it on a context-specific examples so that we can increase their productivity as well as the quality of the code, testing, documentation, all that life cycle. Another area that we are working on is conversational chatbots. That is quite in these markets. So what we are basically trying is using the chatbots for our employees as well as our clients to answer their queries through an unstructured text list. And then the back engine of this is another models that we train that allows us to read through all the unstructured text, millions of documents, and then give our, let's say, live call center agents to have an alternate response for client queries or give them some possible actions that they can perform. So yeah, so this is one of the area. Another area is also for us in the financial industry, the risk calculation is a big thing. And to do it much faster and quicker is very important for us. So basically, we are also trying to see how can we implement Gen AI in that area.
And in your experiences from your previous industries and non-enterprise and non-finance, how is it different now Deutsche Bank. That's 3 seconds.
Yeah, so financial industry is a very highly regulated world. You need to think of a lot of regulation. And as a Deutsche Bank, which is a global bank, we receive millions of regulations. So we have to go through all the potential risks that are associated with any system that we deploy. So we have to come up with all the, let's say, right risk controls in order to deploy, before deploying any, let's say, AI module. With the previous industries, let's say telecom, it's not as such a highly regulated industry. There is more of a mixture of how you can leverage AI to connect technology with markets, branding, supply chain. So yes, so with financial industry, specifically as a Deutsche Bank, which have a long history of the customer relationship, like 100 years of customer relationship. So we have to be very, very careful about what we are deploying.
And how do you balance that with keeping up innovation? Everything's moving so fast. How are you balancing that between regulation and customer trust?
Yeah, so for us, so what we are trying to do from an AI perspective is we are partnering with Google, Microsoft, and NVIDIA. So we believe that the partnership is a key in the Gen AI world. So this is one of the areas that we are trying to collaborate with our partners in order to come up with an efficient solutions. Then another one is we are providing, let's say, developing a right infrastructure. So for example, for us, our cloud transformation journey is a big thing. And we believe that this cloud transformation journey, coupled with our Gen AI technology, will allow us, let's say, a good platform to use the AI technologies to its most.
And on top of that, how are you with stakeholders' expectations and investors and shareholders wanting to sort of be implemented fast? How do you balance that as well?
Well, that we need to have, let's say, a stakeholder expectations. For this, we just have to talk with them, and let's say we have the right controls. We have a playground. Let's say we in Deutsche Bank we have a dance platform where we are trying different use cases. Let's say, for example, in a lending area, there are millions of documents, and we have to process and manage all the loan documents. So we are using Gen AI, but at the same time, the responsible AI is the core heart of our transformation. So we believe that no AI solution that we implement is a black box model. The model should be fair, transparent, and explainable. So yes, that's what we are trying to do and come up with solutions that we can implement in the real world.
How are you finding implementing responsible AI, employee-wise, technology-wise? What are the hurdles? What takeaways you can give?
Yeah, so what we believe, so let's say just think of Gen AI perspective. Then let's say LLM models are basically trained on natural data, which is biased, right? And if you train on that, that will generate another data which is biased, and it will keep on going the biasness there. So what we are trying to do is to come up with the solutions where we avoid hallucinations and omissions. For example, for LLMs, let's say it's for specific purpose with LLMs. There are different approaches. For example, you can do transfer learning, you can do meta learning, or you can build vector store indexes. So what we are trying to do is to use this vector store index approach so that allow us to do the testing of our LLMs. Another approach is to, let's say, a human in the loop. So we are not deploying any AI system which is completely automated. So we think of it as a co-pilot instead of an autopilot. So we want AI to enable our employees to solve a particular business solution. So yeah, so that's basically, and also like if I talk about the testing of LLMs, if you ask a same question to an LLM twice, it will give you a different answer. So how can you test it? So that's the area where research and industry is looking into. And yeah, we are also using the approach, as I mentioned, which allow us to have more explainable models.
How much is the community, open source, improving and helping in these situations?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, repeat your question.
So Deutsche Bank are very regulated, very disconnected. Do you share your learnings, responsible, ethical, community-wide? How is that facilitated?
So one thing, as I mentioned, is we are partnering with a tech giant like Google, Microsoft. So we are, and also like we are the early trusted testers of Gen AI technology, basically. Another thing is we are also working with them in order to create a regulatory framework which ensures that the models that we develop are responsible and ethical in practice. So, and also, so yeah, so we are basically, so for us, we are not reinventing the wheel. We are basically using the models from the industry. So, and there is also, so once you train your own specific purpose-built models, you can also share it with the OpenAI and all the open models.
Okay, nice. So going back to strategy and using all this to implement strategy, where should we start? Where does the journey start?
Okay, so overall, what you want to think is what are your business goals, basically, and what are the challenges that you are facing, and then how AI can solve those particular challenges. One way usually people look is they think of a particular department and then they say, okay, where we can implement an AI. And if you look at the AI solutions, it is basically sort of a graph, a long tail graph where every AI solution will provide you some value. But there are some projects which provides very high business value. So you need to first find those use cases which provide highly business value. So another thing is you need to perform a code, let's say a cost benefit analysis, where you make sure that the solution that you are going to implement is viably businessly viable. So yeah, so first you need to identify those use cases, and then once you identify the use cases, you need to see what sort of technologies you need, what sort of infrastructure you need, what sort of, let's say, data quality you have, or how diverse the data is. So you need to keep thinking about those stuff. Then you need to, let's say, develop a roadmap where you see, okay, what does it mean to have a successful solution? I mean, if you talk about the functional side, what is your valuation metric? So for example, when you are, let's say, predicting a rare cancer disease, and if you think that accuracy is your evaluation metric, just predicting that everything is non-cancerous can give you high accuracy, but it's not an actual evaluation metric that you want to see. So basically, so you need to think about what sort of evaluation metrics you need and how these AI solutions that you are implementing is connected with the system that are already there in the organization. So you don't want to create a data silos, basically. So you need to see, and then in an established organization, you have a legacy systems as well. So you need to see how they are connected with each other. And then in the end, you need to, let's say, track or monitor how they are performing. What are the accuracy and performance of these models?
It sounds super expensive and super time consuming.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, what I observe these days is there is an anxiety in companies, like they have to use Gen AI, otherwise they will be behind the curve. They don't do a proper cost benefit analysis. And that's where they went. So you need to have a compelling reason about why you need, let's say, Gen AI. There are existing AI solutions that are not as expensive as Gen AI technologies, and they are doing just pretty fine. So you need to see, is it really, let's say, useful to use those advanced AI technologies or not.
How do you test that?
So, yeah, I mean, you need to see. So what you need to see is like, if you are implementing GenAI, you need a specific infrastructure. You need high computing GPUs. Then you need, and the thing is, it's not magic. An LLM is, let's say, understand the language, and it gives you an answer in the language. It's not expert in, let's say, in our financial domain. So for that, you need to train the model, give them the high quality of data, and also has diversity of the data. So, and then another perspective is the data accessibility and the privacy. For example, giving right data to the right people, that requires time, that requires computation, resources, the access, let's say, mechanism to develop, that requires a lot of cost. So yeah, so you need to factor in all these factors to see if it is really viable for you.
What do you need to be cautious of? It seems like it's only beneficial to be using LLMs and JI, but what you really need to be careful of, what you're scared of almost.
Well, scared of, it's, I would say, the responsible part of it. Because as LLMs, you know, it's quite complex architecture that we have. So it gives you, and the thing is, right now, the testing of these LLMs is not good, right? So you need to see how can you test those LLMs. And also, one of the techniques that I mentioned before is a vector store. Another technique is sort of, let's say, inducing a component into your architecture, which can give you some sort of a probability about how accurate the answer is or how confident the model is. So yeah, so these are the sort of things that it requires.
What's next? So where are we headed with this? What's on the roadmap for Deutsche Bank?
For Deutsche Bank, for us, we, as I mentioned, we have identified these three key areas, and we are actually working on it. For us, for example, in the conversational chatbots that I mentioned, we are, as currently the chatbots that we have, they are role-based, and that leads to, let's say, higher churn rates or reduced customer satisfaction. So basically wants to explore different opportunities that AI provide. For example, let's say in Deutsche Bank, we have this research department that generates reports on different levels for our clients based on our relationship with that client or on a subscription basis. So and right now it's a highly manual process, and you require time, you require resources. So what we want to make it is to make it automated and make it faster so that we can so for example, when it is right now it's a highly manual process. So it means that existing resources are busy in those particular topics that you are researching. At the same time, you are losing the opportunity of different topics that you could research, or let's say interacting with a client. So we want Gen AI to allow us to explore more opportunities and reinvent the way we work actually.
So the workforce, what does it mean for them?
Well, yeah, so that's a very good question actually. So what I see is the anxiety among the employees about how Gen AI will transform their work. So what I say is you need to be pretty clear to your employees about how AI will transform their work and how they can improve to use those AI technologies. And then there's the responsibility of an organization to provide those resources in order to make your workforce AI savvy. So as a Deutsche Bank, we have initiated a lot of projects. So for example, we have initiated the Gen AI training for the whole employees. We are right now providing a platform where you can test different use cases, and we have right controls because data privacy, data accessibility are the issues. Then we have established, let's say, AI Center of Excellence, which helps our employees to see where we can deploy those use cases. So yeah, so these are the things that we are currently doing in order to make sure that our workforce are AI savvy and are modernized. Yeah.
How's that being received by the employees?
Well, right, so far so good. I mean, if you talk about, let's say we have a cloud engineering course for us, and there are more than 3,000 people who have enrolled and completed this thing. The desk platform where we allow our employees to perform the use cases there are more than 1,000, I guess, people who signed up for that. And yeah, so the work is changing and people are aware of it, and they are, so once you communicate clearly about where the company is going, the employees know what is required for them. And when you provide them the resources to do it, they are more than happy to take it and make them transform.
Being an analyst, it's been spoken about as one of the industries or one of the sectors that's going to be affected most. How do you see it? Is it going to help? Is it going to hinder the introduction of Gen AI into industry?
Well, definitely, it will reinvent the way we work. It will change the skill set that we require. So we need to keep up with this. So yeah, I mean, we have to transform ourselves. We have to keep up the pace, and yeah.
And where can we go with it? What's Valhalla? Where are we trying to get with this roadmap and AI strategy in particular?
Sorry.
So where are we trying to get to? So we're putting all these processes in place, we're educating our staff. Where are we heading to?
I mean, we are heading to this, let's say, a new world where the workflows that we are using to do our job, it will change. We have to be flexible and we have to be realistic that these let's say, the way we work will change, and we have to keep up with it.
Amazing. We're gonna bring this home. So a lot of people who want some takeaways from this conversation. What's been the number one lesson that you learned with Deutsche Bank on this AI journey?
Yeah, I mean, for us, as I mentioned, like financial industry is a highly regulated world. So you need to think of all the potential risks that are associated with it. And before deploying any, let's say, AI solution, you need to have a right controls to deploy so that you can get wary of those risks. That is one of the things that you have to consider. And another thing is you need to have a compelling reason to start any new use case. You need to do a proper cost benefit analysis and to see whether they are business viable or not. So yeah, so these are the two areas.
And if you could go back and tell yourself one of the strategies you use or something that you learned, wish you knew then, what would it be?
Well, right now it's an early stage. We are still exploring, and the thing is, we are very cautious about it, and we are taking care of what sort of a risk we are looking for. And yeah, so it's a journey, and we will learn as we move forward.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you very much. That's all we have time for on the podcast this evening. Yeah, please like and share so we can reach as many people as possible. That is all for myself and Talha on the podcast this evening. Thank you very much, Talha.
Thank you.